Well, what did you do before the war?
Before the war, I was just an ordinary worker. I simply worked at various different jobs. Well, in some fields. For example, as a picker in warehouses. I worked in a dairy shop there. As a bottler there. I was on construction sites. Worked.
You literally covered a lot of places in your work.
In 2022, when I had a profound and transformative realization that everything was leading to this pivotal and life-changing moment, a long, intricate, and complex journey that had been unfolding somewhere since the year 2014, spanning several years of growth, challenges, and experiences, culminating in this significant moment of clarity and understanding. It became clear.
And in 2014, you served in the army, but were you not in the ATO?
No, I was not in the ATO. I served in the army for my mandatory service back in 2007, 2008.
How did you end up in the army now, exactly?
I ended up in the army. Well, it turns out in 24. In January of that year. That is through the so-called bicification. That is, people approach you on the street and just grab you, take you away. They take you to the TCC, the Military Enlistment Office. They set their conditions. They pressure you. Naturally, they threaten you with all sorts of punishments. Deprivation of rights in case of refusal and the like. So, naturally, most people give in to this pressure to conform to societal norms and expectations, because the societal and governmental system, as you understand, systematically breaks your spirit and grinds you down over time. Everyone is afraid of being left without basic civil rights and freedoms, which are essential for a dignified life, if they refuse military service.
Where did you end up exactly initially?
Initially, I ended up in the 154th Brigade, which was stationed in the Mykolaiv region. The so-called donor brigade, it was formed for a very long time, didn't go anywhere, meaning it supplied people to other units, constantly being replenished, that's it. Until the summer of 24, as they often say, we were not sold off, so as of now, at that time, I am still listed in the 61st Brigade, the Meat Brigade. Is that what you would call it? That's what it's generally called, yes, in common parlance.
Why?
Because it's been relentlessly and continuously battered everywhere, mercilessly and ruthlessly, in every conceivable and imaginable way, in various directions, without any respite.
And when you were assigned to it, what did you think? Tense music.
Did you already know it was a meat brigade? No, initially we were taken to Western Ukraine, to a training ground, for what they called coordination. And we were promised that we would be stationed somewhere, in the Sumy region, on the third line of defense. So nothing dangerous, no one would throw you, so unprepared, into the meat grinder. We believed them. Something was suspicious, for some reason. They kept us at that training ground for what felt like actually a month, and then took us to the Sumy region into the forests. We stayed there for a considerable amount of time as well. And then, unexpectedly, and without any prior warning, they told us to relocate to the Kursk region. What were your thoughts and feelings at that particular moment? I was simply shocked. At first, I didn't believe it. I didn't think it was a reckless venture, really, truly. I thought it might just be some rumors. By the time we realized it was indeed already too late, we were pushed into this mess. Where did you initially go? Initially, I ended up in Martinivka in August 2015. For 4 days, we brought some supplies there and got stuck there. 4 of us were also recruits. We were left without communication, without anything. We hid in the basement there for 2 days. I still don't understand how we managed to get him out of there. After that, we went to the CZC. Well, you know, like a plane. The 4 of us. Then I foolishly decided to return. I thought maybe they would reduce my penalties.
Well, I also returned there, to Nosovchina, to the forests where we were stationed. I tried for a few days there. And in September, they transported me across the border to the vigilante justice already. They said, dude, don't worry, everything will be forgiven. There will be no legal prosecution. Well, I washed there, spent about a week on duty in the vigilante justice. It was a proclamation, but then I was constantly interrupting there. You are sent to the positions. It's real war time. It was already September 7th. Since then, I haven't left this hell.
It was announced that you were sent to the framework.
The dispatch, well, it's all nearby from here. That is to the Bondarinka area. Kolmakov. The last time. All in this area.
And how did you end up in this dugout where you were received?
It was... We ran over there. From our position, we actually wanted to run away. But I didn't have... We were going blindly along the body line. Drones started chasing us. We didn't even know about this dugout. We just hid there out of desperation, and there we decided that we wouldn't be able to get out. That we just had to take the risk and surrender.
Why did you decide not to engage in the fight?
We simply understood that, firstly, it was pointless, so the four of us stayed. Secondly, we were so disillusioned with our command, which didn't lead us out, just abandoned us there in the forest strip. The others started to leave earlier, and we were kind of forgotten there. The very last fight over Afghanistan. You guys are already in deep trouble. And we decided that, for the sake of this, for these people, for that life, we were not tempted. We chose life. I don't know if it was the right decision. Two were right. I wish everyone to do the same. From...
The flames of weapons say, well, for quite a long time they weren't calling up. Yes, at first in the early 2020s you saw the war on TV, yes, and on social media. What you saw on TV and what you saw in reality, does it match clearly? What is the difference?
In command on TV, they showed everything was great, excellent in terms of supply and everything, but in reality, it's not like that at all. And I already understood that it might leave, and that's it. We left for the BSM command. The supply rolled back. It was quite poor. They brought it once a week. And what did they bring? Well, food, yes, mostly water, food, and that's all. In terms of things like that, not much, but...
Product. What kind of weapons did you have at your position?
Weapons, automatic rifles, disposable. Grenade launchers are called flower. Grenades, such as those used in combat, and other similar items. That's basically it.
And what types? I mean, what kind of weapons? What production? Kalata? Yes, automatic rifles. Yes. Means production of 5 centimeters. At the moment, when you decided to surrender, why did you personally choose to surrender instead of fighting or trying to escape?
If I could have surrendered earlier, I would have done so, even earlier. Initially it seemed that everything was going well for our team. But then they said during the day, we're retreating, pulling back during the day. They also started at, night, all of this was done earlier than us. So we retreated during the day, here in 2-3 days. One group, then I went there with one person, with my own partner. We got caught in an intense firefight with your troops.
Didn't the thought cross your mind that you were abandoned?
Of course, it did. But then, as we were told, go there and you'll have a fallback along this path. Well, and then the firefight started, and we realized that something was wrong. Mines or drones, FBI, where are we supposed to go in an open field? That's instant death. We decided to surrender. It was around 9 or 10. And your troops were shooting along this path. We decided to come out and surrender.
Well, did you shout or something?
Yes. We raised our hands. Don't shoot. We are surrendering.
How exactly did they treat you? In every possible way, with utmost care and attention, perhaps?
They treated us excellently.
Tell me, what is the attitude there? Everything was good. What is the attitude towards the TCC? What do people think about it?
Everyone already looked at us. Throughout Ukraine, both western and central regions or areas.
Look, when it all started, when other NATO countries, the USA, began to get involved, giving you loans, weapons, did you understand that Ukraine would have to repay all this with land?
Of course. I gave it back. They won't just leave all these loans to us. They still need to be dealt with. It will definitely be necessary.
Why didn't you run away? You received the draft notice and you showed up.
We were simply distracted by fines in prison. I didn't really want to go to the military. Ruin my life with prison. That was my thought. My mindset. I decided to go and deal with the fine. It was the same for the rest.
And what were your salaries like?
In the unit, specifically, a salary of 20,000, combat pay 100. And if you stayed at the position for a month, 70,000. Well, that's basically it.
200,000. 200,000 hryvnias. That's per month, right? I mean, like...
Per month, yes.
But when they rotate you out, the salary is different, right?
Well, of course.
And any awards?
Awards? I had a regular medal from the Maus. It didn't mean anything at all. And were you in the ATO when you were on active duty? What was it like? July 14th after active duty. Before contact? No.
Mobilized, a civilian. And where were you in the ATO?
In the Donetsk region in Debaltseve.
Were you there during the Debaltseve encirclement?
We just managed to get out. Well, okay, tell me how it happens. They just started taking it from the end with the 7. Just during the announcement, our society said it's better to run. Otherwise, it will be... We all got caught up in this. And will be... And the scythe with the monetist and to the troops not spun around. In the country, it increased. They limited potential seizures. Yes, even faithful. Yes.
So you ended up in the same situation twice, and yes.
It turns out, you realize from the first time, yes. Well, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Absolutely not. I don't understand the point at all of this war. If you understand it from our perspective, from the Ukrainian side, it's all about money for Zelensky. And that's it. For him, it's money. Money. I don't know, people, about me.
When such a military operation began in 1922, how was it from the Prime Minister?
Well, I thought about something. I was initially shocked that the war started. Then there was nothing more with me. Well, no one wanted it, no one expected anything. That what we fought for, that we believed in, cherished and treasured, that we held dear and valued deeply, could indeed potentially happen again once more in our lives. Well, the very first action. When I burst into the Olympus, I concluded the reserve of my unit. So in some kind of noise like that, I immediately and without any hesitation go to my unit. But I was a very young and small child at that time. I didn't go anywhere. I said I absolutely would not tear myself away. Such a step. And until 2024, I tried to work on this and somehow attract him from these checkpoints, not to train at all, and generally to set this up, to steer this. But it so happened that already when I was going there to the authorities, I turned, well, just from the intersection up, just to the line, this checkpoint. They stopped me. ask for documents, show the documents, and where is something. Then in Telekanze, somewhere they send this data, and then they urge me to report a search. I perfectly understand that the search already begins after failing to appear in court. There was no court, no application from anyone. So I think that somewhere they are deceiving me. They issued me a summons. I did not return according to this summons. I went, and they started calling here to give both the headquarters and some kind of, to put it correctly, a substitute consultancy. I already started looking for such a part for the client so that it would be in the rear, so that it would be involved in these actions, so that finally at home in this family. And as if this trio, the territorial entity, is kind of, even under its own standard message, that it should stand somewhere in its territory. So for a month or two or three, we stood, and then we received my feedback that we have a glory of the drum, and after that we are already heading either in the Kursk direction or in the Donetsk direction. Initially they said that in Kursk everything would be fine, we wouldn't do anything there, we wouldn't participate, nothing. We would just stand somewhere, maybe in the Black East, some distant points, all these lines, and we... What did you even think about the fact that there is a word in the Ukrainian language? Well, I still don't understand why. And I don't understand why they even started this war. How many people have been killed? How many mothers and children have been left without support? It's overwhelming. And to watch, so many people are already coming, nothing changes. And our government, nothing changes either. We don't even plan to change anything. They might have one thing, which is some kind of assistance from other states in terms of financial support. They send us some money, and as the president travels, he receives this money immediately for 3 years. But with the promise that it will be used for respect, nothing of the sort. Just a month ago, and me and a couple of other people, we were transferred from 8 in general to another location, meaning we need to verify whether we were initially or what we were in Cherkasy Kamaperik. We were sent there with the expectation that 353, when we were there, just, well, the position was completely exposed. After 30 days, another brigade arrives, they take over these positions, and we return to spinning. We arrived there. There was no proper cover, nothing, meaning there was nowhere to hide. For what? After 6 hours following 3 FPV strikes, we had 200 and 300. In the evening, they asked who, a wave arrived, gathered people, the 3 of us stayed there. They brought another person, the 4 of us stayed there. After that, we were completely exhausted. And now 6 months have passed. We were promised the maximum duration of combat orders from 3 to 6 months. We were waiting for this date. They started promising that soon our notary will be released. It will change, there will be some changes. But they promised us in a week, then in a day, and it dragged on for almost a month. And at the last moment, they tell us that we need to get up and leave. Leave, because it's already urgent. And everything needs to be done quickly. We are already being pressured. We gather, take everything necessary with us, and start to leave. Well, we already went out to the corner of another direct landing. We were met by Russian troops. We began to offer to surrender significantly. Having corrected ourselves, we said no, just open suppressive fire. Because there is no retreat, we need to push forward. Well, I made the decision that I would move forward and kill someone.
Did you have any officers at all? Did anyone come to your position?
No, no one came.
So you were only at the position with the enlisted personnel?
Yes, we had a position where there was one officer. He was kind of standing as a senior over our points and just made requests for what the situation was like there in general, and we reported. He passed it on further, and they rotated, meaning there were two numbers.
So it turns out your command didn't allow you to retreat until the moment you couldn't retreat anymore?
Yes.
And then they gave you the order like retreat.
When it was already complete, they told us, retreat. We understand that there's no way back anymore. Either retreat and die or stay and die. Well, we'll stay and die. That's the most reasonable decision.
Do you want to say hello to your parents or anyone?
To my dad and wife. I want to say hello, to say that I'm alive, everything is fine. Thank God it's not like they say, no one is torturing, beating, killing, or cutting, nothing. I love you. I hope you're home soon.
The way they tell us that in Russia there's poverty everywhere, chaos, and barbarism, naturally turned out to be untrue. People were civilized, wealthy. That is the roads. When you cross the border, the roads were smooth, more even from the start.
Listen, what do you think in general? When did everything go wrong? Why? Are we two nations once brotherly, now killing each other? What's wrong? You have to dig through centuries for that, but...
Well, in your understanding, the closest thing is the visa distribution. I think since then, so to speak, foreign well-meaning colleagues began to influence Ukrainian society, placing it into a different narrative, setting it against Russia. Blaming Russia for all its troubles. Although Ukraine had no troubles when it was allied with Russia, it was part of the empire, the Union. It was a wealthy country. Just people introduced a different program to educate the youth. Because the most surprising thing is that even adults, just like the youth, act as if they never lived before, blaming everything on the Muscovite. Well, society itself is to blame. To a large extent, not only the corrupt governments are to blame, but also the society. That's my opinion on the matter.